I'm Scott, I'm your tour guide, and this is Lugo, he's a tractor driver. All right, if tree branches hit me in the back of my head, they might hit you in the front. But hey, they're all organic, so don't worry. You are on a California certified organic farm, and that means we don't use any pesticides or herbicides. So during the day, we have a lot of squirrels running around, and you'll see that we have some weeds. We have to pick them by hand or weed eat them. We do not use Roundup to kill anything. It's all organic. A couple pieces of information. None of the wild animals around here like to eat lavender as a food source. They don't prefer it. And lavender is very drought resistant, likes the heat. So those two facts mean we can have a big lavender field and a big lavender festival. On your left is the food court area. You may have already been in there. When you get on the other side of the ride, you can smell the cooking, and it's really smells good. We have good talent there tonight. That young lady does a really good job. The white tent area here, or the tables there, those are the master gardeners. They have answers to your gardening questions, so avail yourself of them if you need any answers. Okay. Did anyone take in the distillation demonstration at 6 o'clock? It's really hard to get here on a Friday night at 6 o'clock, but my wife does that talk, and she does a really good job. She knows a lot more about this farm than I do. She started working here in August of 16 as a full-time gardener, organic gardener and farmer, and she's tough because it was hot when she started. It's hot now. A few years older, so maybe we'll have to slow down a little bit. All right, so we're going to cross the road and look at the distillery. We distill plant life into essential oils there. See all those milk carton crates full of, that's probably lavender, sure, because we're really blooming here. And it takes a lot of those to make little bottles of essential oil. So they did that talk at 6, and people got that information. We're going down into the lavender field now. If you look on your left, this is a test garden of lavender. We have about 50 variety of lavender on the farm. A lot of it's in this test garden. We have little white placards to tell you what kind of lavender it is. It's not all purple. It can be white, pink, gradations in between. At nighttime, they don't get to see those placards from the ride, but everything is lit up beautifully, and that's their trade-off. All right, so if you have essential oil, lavender, it's pretty famous for helping you slow down, calm down, and go to sleep at night if you need help with that. And it's also good as a hand sanitizer and good for like a little wound care, like a paper cut. It's not the only thing we do in terms of essential oil. We're coming up on this tree here. It's called a tea tree. And when we distill that, it's called tea tree oil or melaleuca oil. And it's medicinal, and it's good for like a canker sore. Yeah, pull that back. So you put some on your finger and rub it on your gum line, and it feels better in the morning. We also do peppermint and spearmint, which is pretty famous for waking you up. So if you have some peppermint or spearmint essential oil, you can rub it in your palms and put kind of a cone over your nose. Breathe it in deeply, and you're just a little more spry. So at nighttime, I always ask people, do you have any peppermint or spearmint essential oil with you? They always say no. And since we're getting into the later hours, then I say, I'm going to have to be really interesting. Hello there. On video. I have a lawyer that takes care of that. No, I don't. On the fence line down there is rosemary plants, a kind of green clumpy plant. As an essential oil, the rosemary is good for sore joints, so like sore hips, ankles, shoulders, wrists. Rub it on. We also use the rosemary in one of our olive oils. So there's a rosemary olive oil that we sell. We'll talk a little bit about the olive oils. But first, we want to talk a little bit about the kind of interesting human history on the farm. There was a man named Dr. Isaac Smith. He was a doctor, a rancher, and a farmer. He had 10 children. he had property to the east of here, and his cattle would get over here and come and get him. He liked the property here, so he made a deal to buy 1,000 acres for $1,000. $1 an acre. Pretty amazing, but it was 170 years ago. So that was in 1853. So he was calling this the Smith Ranch, and he was doing his ranching and all that. And then he noticed a stagecoach was coming through the area, and they were carrying gold from Arizona to Los Angeles. So he was enterprising, and he thought he could build a hospitality facility and make money serving the stage industry. So he built a restaurant and a hotel, and that's what he did. He started making money doing that, and he turned the name to Smith Station. People would stop and eat here and stay overnight, I suppose. And it so happens that in the mid-1860s, a teenage Wyatt Earp was one of the stagehands that would be on this property over and over again. So I usually ask people, does anybody remember who Wyatt Earp is or know who Wyatt Earp is? And I always look at the guys about my generation, and we know, but Wyatt Earp and his brothers Virgil and Morgan were Kansas lawmen, and I like to joke that they moved to Tombstone, Arizona to make a movie, but that's not true. They went to Tombstone, Arizona to make money, and they got kind of roped back into the law business, and they had to shoot out at the OK Corral, and all of this is kind of documented in the movie Tombstone in a dramatic way. And also there's a movie called Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner. So it's famous people. By the mid-1880s, Riverside County, California was incorporated. This property became the very first historical landmark of Riverside County history. Also, this olive grove on your left was planted in the mid-1880s. Grover Cleveland was president. They had a lane going up and down, probably for the stagecoach. They probably felt pretty smart 25 years after that when Model Ts could do the same thing. So we have maybe 200 olive trees on our property. Tonight you'll want to be on the north side looking from the food court at how beautifully lit it is. They're all lit up. But if you like to cook with olive oil, go ahead and shop in our shops. We have many different varieties, and they're all totally organic, very good for your health, your hair, skin, and nails. And I like to lift my hat and say, I don't care too much about my hair, but I do like to have good nails, like Lizzo. More olives, Japanese flower and apricots inside of them. Persimmons trees we just passed on your left. We'll go up alongside of those a little later on the ride, and later tonight we'll hear frogs croaking there. It's kind of funny. They don't croak during the day. Okay, we're going to get past this olive tree, and that's the oak tree there that we built, as 1,000-year-old oak, a California Life Costa oak. Straight ahead. Get your cameras out because we'll slide by it. We think it might be as many as 1,100 years old. People said a couple years ago, how do you know? And they asked me, and I said, I don't know. It's on the script. But I found out, and it's the circumference of the tree, the measurement around, and an estimate based on where it is planted, where it is growing. So if that's any close on the estimate, it's a living thing from the 10th century. It's impressive. Up in that area up there to your right, that's a 7-acre field, we call it, and it's a sheep field. Now, I haven't seen the sheep out tonight, but Mary's out there, our brown cow. We have a donkey in with the sheep named Joe. Donkey's gray, and then we have a brown llama named Shoki. And they've all kind of been, except for the cow, they've been kind of close in here, so they've been hard to see. We have a couple of our Great Pyrenees dogs. That's a European dog breed, and they're bred to protect livestock. So we have a couple out there, so at nighttime coyotes can't get to the sheep because our dogs will chase them off. If they catch a coyote, they will eliminate the coyote. Coyotes are smart. They don't get caught very often. If you're kind of driving through Cherry Valley, you'll notice, there's large properties and goats and things, and invariably they have a Great Pyrenees dog in with them to protect them. Again, these trees on your left are persimmons. So let's see if I can see Shoki through the trees here. We're in a wildlife corridor, so we've seen a mountain lion up in our grape vineyard that we planted in February of 22. We see bobcats, coyotes. We were visited by a bear 2 years ago on a May Saturday. The bear knocked over a lot of our ice cream freezers that were on the kind of on the lawn where the food court is. Ate a lot of the ice cream, so you could say he took a bite out of our profit margin. Didn't leave a tip. There's Shoki right there. You can quickly see through the trees. Very quick view of him, hanging out there. Probably the sheep at his feet. So the very next Saturday night, that May, our big, large male Great Pyrenees dog named Bear, he's caramel colored, he's probably around the, tonight so far, he's probably around the lobby area. Bear chased that bear away all by himself. Now, I'm pretty sure a fight with one of our dogs and a even bear with a black bear wouldn't go well for the dog. However, the black bear must have had an escape route and it didn't want to find out how it would go. I'm going to kind of duck down here so I don't get the branches hitting you. So, you know, we advise people not to bring any of their pets because our dogs don't know the difference between a domestic pet and an animal that might hurt the livestock, and it can get intense. So we have that posted. Okay, so this is the centennial year. 100 years ago in 1923, a pair of brothers named Fred and William Hirsch bought this property, and that's when they first called it the Highland Springs Resort. Their good friend was Dr. Albert Einstein, and when he was out at Caltech in Pasadena lecturing, you're going to smell the food court here pretty soon. When he was out lecturing, he would try to come out here and visit his friends on the farm on this resort. A lot of Hollywood people would be out here in that 30-year period. People like John Wayne, Bob Hope, Dale Evans, Roy Rogers, Lucille Ball, a very young Elizabeth Taylor in the later years, writers John Steinbeck and Ernest Hemingway. It was a stop along the way to Palm Springs, but it was a famous place to come. People would come out here when traditional medicine no longer helped. And remember, it was called the Highland Springs Resort. It got the nickname the Last Resort because they were willing to try medicine that was non-traditional. After we passed by this olive tree, if you look up to your right past the cars, that's the large vineyard we planted in February of 22. We are growing the kind of grapes they would grow in the south of France because we have a similar dry climate. And we're hoping to make some white wines and rosés. So, maybe 3.5 to 4 years, they'll be ready to give a go with. Building on your left here is a former blacksmith shop, one of our mercantiles. My son's written, my wife and my son's written a book called Betty the Eddie. It's in that shop. If you were to go up this road here, still a little light, maybe 80 yards, that's where the original stone house that Dr. Smith built still stands. It's defunct. It was a pool house later, and there's a pool by it, but that's not operational either. But in the 1950s, a pair of brothers named the Rosines bought this property. And they turned it into a week-long vacation spot for families to come, sort of like we do timeshares these days. The property had the nickname the Catskills of the West. So I think of the movie Dirty Dancing. Does everybody remember the movie Dirty Dancing? I hope when they came here they had the time of their lives. Ta-da. Right, thanks for laughing. If you don't laugh, I have to start singing. And anyway, She's Like the Wind was the better song from that movie. She's like the wind. It's a karaoke ride. This is what it's going to be.
Thank God it's over.
Thank God it's over. That's exactly what I was going to say. I didn't start it early enough. All right. We'll disembark carefully. Going to jump off and help anybody that needs it. We'll get the stool out there. And let you get out there to the farm to start shopping around.